All right, Nick, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Ever since head coach Mike Macdonald has taken the helm of this team, I think the team has gone in a new, smart direction, doing things in the new style of the NFL, not necessarily the old way they used to do stuff. And I think that's really smart. And the latest move they made, I think, highlights just the kind of smart moves we are talking about. Let's get right on into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This is from over on ESPN, and it says the Seattle Seahawks are signing veteran guard Laken Tomlinson to a one-year deal, a source confirmed to ESPN on Friday. The deal is worth up to $4 million, a source told ESPN. Tomlinson, 32, was released by the New York Jets in February. He gives the Seahawks an experienced, durable starter to help fill one of their biggest remaining holes. Damian Lewis, Seattle's starter the past 3 seasons, signed with the Carolina Panthers early on in free agency. Nick, I think this is a great move by the Seahawks. I'm curious what your thoughts are, but Seattle fans, in the comment section below, Coach McDonald and John Schneider have teamed up to make a lot of really smart moves this offseason. I want to know in the comment section below, as we're nearing the start of the summer training camp, things like that, what are your thoughts on the latest moves before we get into the draft that they've made in free agency, signings, guys they let go? What has been your favorite move so far this offseason? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on this latest move by the Seahawks?
So look, anytime a team loses a player, a solid player like Damian Lewis, you always hate to see a guy go, but the reality is sometimes teams will overspend, they'll reach, and you'll lose guys in free agency, and I think that's what happened with the Carolina Panthers and Damian Lewis. But what the smart teams do, and the Seahawks with the new way of their doing things, is they figure out a way to replace that player with what I call the 80-20 rule, right? Obviously, the Seahawks won't want to spend the money to get another Damian Lewis. They'd have to spend what Carolina spent, which was $13.5 million per year against their salary cap. So you look to replace a player 80% of his productivity for 20% of the price. And that's exactly what they did here with Laken Tomlinson. Let's go to our first graph here. This is pulling up on the left side. You'll see the pass block grade comparing Damian Lewis and Laken Tomlinson. Lewis, admittedly, a little bit better, right? We all know that. But look on the right there, the annual salary cap hit. Look at that delta. This is the 80-20 rule playing out perfectly. You can see how much Damian Lewis is getting paid. You can see how little Laken Tomlinson is getting paid. And you can see that Tomlinson is just a little bit behind Damian Lewis's pass block grade. Now let's go to run block game. Look at the run game. Damian Lewis, again, better, but a little bit better. Not a whole lot better than Laken Tomlinson. And let's focus on that same graph on the right? Look at that big cap hit Damian Lewis has in the future. Look at Laken Tomlinson's cap hit in 2024. It's the 80-20 rule. In our final graph, overall grade, again, this is all courtesy of PFF. You can look at Damian Lewis. Look, he's better than Laken Tomlinson. No one's arguing that, but he's only a little bit better. But the Seattle Seahawks are paying someone who's a little bit worse than Damian Lewis, like 20% of the money. This is the 80-20 rule, folks. This is what smart teams do, and it frees up salary cap dollars to go out and address other opportunities to get this team better. We've talked about it a lot this offseason. The Seattle Seahawks, with the addition of Mike Macdonald and, of course, John Schneider, they made a lot of smart moves. They're coming into the 21st century, it feels like, in terms of how they're doing things. And I think this latest move and how they structured all their contracts and their overall strategy is a great sign for the future of the Seahawks.
Yeah, Nick, I'd have to agree with you because looking at all the graphs, I mean, when the dollars make sense, I think everything makes sense. And that's exactly what the Seahawks have done here. You sign a guy to help you now. This is a team that's got a lot of talent on it. You get a guy on a one-year deal that can help you win now, and you get him for a bargain. As you said, $13.5 million for Lewis would have been quite a lot of money for the Seahawks to shell out. I think Lewis is good. I think, unfortunately, teams like the Carolina Panthers are willing to overpay a little bit to get guys on their roster because they're struggling to be relevant, which the Seattle Seahawks are definitely relevant right now. So I think getting a guy of this caliber, like you see the delta in between the graphs, they're not that far off. Like you said, 80% of the play for 20% of the price is a home run signing every single time. And we know through the past what John Schneider has done on the offensive line, getting your 2 starting tackles through the draft. He knows how to evaluate the offensive line position. We know what Lewis is going to bring to this team, and I think that's going to be a good quality player helping beef up this offensive line. So I think no matter what happens with this team, I think these are the kind of moves they have to make going forward to make sure they keep themselves on tracks to be contenders in the playoffs. These are the type of moves the smart teams make, and Seattle needs to continue in the path, as I alluded to earlier. They used to be stuck in the past. Now they are trending towards being all the new school stuff. They're doing things that the smart teams in the NFL are doing. They need to keep doing these same things in order to get themselves better for the future.
And there's one more layer to this as well. There's certain positions, right? Obviously, you want to overspend. There's certainly positions you can underspend. Guard is one of those positions. It's a sneaky thing. You can really get away with underspending. If you look at the top 5 rated PFF guards last season, 4 of them were on teams that missed the playoffs, right? So again, this is not like quarterback. This is not like edge rusher where you have to be good. If you're not good there, you're in big time trouble. You can get away with underpaying a little bit. And so that's why following the 80-20 rule here from John Schneider and the Seattle Seahawks is a really great move.